Welcome back. You're watching PSM News in English. Maldives Getaways reveals the requirements criteria for the third Gold 100 Awards would be set a notch higher as the competitiveness of the award series have increased. Speaking on Talk Maldives TV program aired on PSM News, Chief Operations Officer, CEO of Maldives Getaways, Furat Mohammed, noted with plans to introduce the Travel Trade Maldives TMM to the international market, the scope of the Maldives as a tourism destination would be boosted.
Briefing on the preparations of the next Gold 100 series, Chief Operations Officer of Maldives Getaways, Furat Mohammed, said every year the award is conferred after rigorous filtering of the companies operating in Maldives. Furat revealed that the requirement criteria for the third Gold 100 Awards would be set a notch higher as the competitiveness of the award series have increased. In this regard, Furat noted that the award would be conferred this year to companies that has a good grasp in revenue, corporate governance and auditing. He highlighted that Corporate Maldives would also confer special awards for lifetime achievement.
Hopefully after TTM we'd be launching the selection criteria, of course. And in terms of, from our statistics, economic development shows that there are around 13,000 registered companies, of which around 5,000 are only active. And out of that, we usually filter it to 200 companies. And from that only, we select the top 100.
The CEO of Maldives Getaways highlighted the Corporate Maldives Academy has been a huge success as it has become the first and major institution to advocate and educate the sideline sector of corporate businesses. On this note, Furat noted the Academy provides training programs on fields such as customer service, sales and marketing, and administration. In addition, he said that the Academy provides special staff training packages for companies.
Corporate Maldives Academy was founded by one of our sister companies actually from Lanike Education. So as an institution, we thought that generally there wasn't any academy that was doing these sort of forums and this sort of training. So the whole concept of Corporate Maldives Academy is that we'll do trainings on a retainer basis. Let's say as a company, you'd like to train your customer service, sales and marketing admin team on separate trainings. So we have 3 packages, monthly packages, where you get, let's say for 10,000, we give around 200 slots training.
Note in TTM has always tried to outshine its previous events. Furat revealed that the introduction of Travel Trade Maldives TTM to the international market would boost the scope of Maldives as a tourism destination. He said that TTM 2019 would be held in Maldives and Sri Lanka.
Weapons inspectors arrive at hotel in Damascus to try to reach the site of a suspected poison attack in the Syrian town of Douma, hours after Western countries launched airstrikes in retaliation over the gassing.
Inspectors from the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons, OPCW, arrived in 6 United Nations vehicles and travelled from Lebanon. The US, Britain and France fired more than 100 missiles at Syria early on Saturday in the first coordinated Western military intervention against the Damascus government. They say the strikes are punishment for killing dozens of people, many of them are women and children, with banned toxic munitions. Damascus and its ally Russia have denounced the Western action, in particular for refusing to wait until the results of the fact-finding mission sent by the OPCW in the wake of the April 7th incident. The OPCW said in a statement the fact-finding mission will continue its deployment to Syria to establish facts around the allegations of chemical weapons used in Douma. The team will work with the United Nations Department of Safety and Security to ensure the safety of the team. Syria's Assistant Foreign Minister Ayman Susan said it would fully cooperate with weapon inspectors. Syria agreed to give up its chemical weapons arsenal in 2013 and submit to OPCW inspections. It is meant to have destroyed all of its stockpiles of nerve agents. In the case of chlorine, it is permitted to possess it for civilian use but not to use it as a weapon. The OPCW will determine whether chemical weapons were used but will not assign blame.
China says it is consistently opposed the use of force in international relations and advocates respect for the sovereignty, independence and territorial integrity of other countries.
Spokeswoman for the Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs Hua Chunying made the remarks in response to the military strikes launched by the US, allied with the UK and France, against Syria on Saturday morning. Hua Chunying noted any military action that bypasses the United Nations Security Council would violate international law and only complicate the Syrian issue. To resolve the Syria issue, Hua said China believes a political settlement is the only realistic option and advocates that a comprehensive, impartial and objective investigation should be carried out to reach a reliable conclusion. Hua added relevant parties of the international community should continue to support the role of the United Nations as the main channel for mediation and make relentless effort to facilitate the final settlement of the Syrian issue. Hua also urged all sides to return to the framework of international law and resolve the issue via dialogue and negotiation. In addition, Hua said the Chinese government will pay close attention to the safety of Chinese citizens there, and the Chinese embassy in Syria has maintained close communication with them. Now all the Chinese people in Syria are safe. In a televised speech late Friday, US President Donald Trump said he ordered the US armed forces to attack targets related with Syria's chemical weapons capabilities. Trump addressed the nation that the joint operation was in response to the chemical attack in Syrian town of Douma by the Syrian government on April 7th. The US has accused the Syrian government of using chlorine gas in an attack last week in the previously rebel-held Douma district near Damascus. British Prime Minister Theresa May said Saturday she has authorized the British armed forces to conduct coordinated and targeted strikes in response to the alleged April 7th chemical weapons attack in Syria. In the statement, the Prime Minister blamed the Syrian government for the alleged chemical weapons attack on April 7th in the Damascus suburb of Douma, which had killed up to 75 people, including young children. French Foreign Minister Jean-Yves Le Drian said the Allied missile attacks in Syria were legitimate, limited and proportionate. In coordination with the US and the UK, French forces targeted a Syrian military chemical research center and 2 production sites overnight. The foreign minister said to avoid an escalation of tension in the region, France is now ready to work on a political alternative with all the countries that can contribute to it.
In sports, Zainuddin Zidane says he feels outraged when people describe Real Madrid's victory against Juventus in the Champions League as a soccer robbery.
The moment in which Juventus defender Mehdi Benatia challenged Lucas Vazquez from behind in the final minutes of the game has been widely analysed by both media and fans. Referee Michael Oliver awarded the penalty when the Real player tumbled to the ground, but the decision was heavily criticised by Juventus players. In a news conference previewing their league match against Malaga, Zainuddin Zidane said the history of Real Madrid makes some people envious and might explain the reaction to their victory over June. Real are facing Isco's former team Malaga, who have only won 17 points this season and are currently bottom in the Spanish league. During the training session, playmaker Isco Alarcon received a blow to his right leg and the medical staff had to treat the player.
A sunflower maze in the northern Philippines is drawing hundreds of tourists every weekend as the country officially starts its dry or summer season. Let's have a look.
Lichuaco village in Pangasinan province north of Manila opened 3 1,200 square meter sunflower mazes last month for the second year in a row in a bid to boost tourism in the mainly farming region. Farm workers plant each flower patch in 2-week intervals to avoid having all sunflowers wilt on some business days. Tourists say the maze can take from 10 to 30 minutes to complete, while some prioritize selfies with the yellow flowers and exit immediately due to the sweltering heat. The flower mazes will be open until May 31st and a ticket inside costs $2 each. Sunflowers thrive in tropical Philippines where summer temperatures average more than 30 degrees Celsius.
With this news, we conclude the news for today. Thanks for joining us and have a pleasant day ahead. Bye-bye.